What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And today, we're going to get into the Mets and the Yankees, and I'm going to give you my top 10 New York sports athletes list. All right, but before we get into any of that, I want to say go follow my socials right now. I really appreciate it. Everything's linked in the description below. Instagram's at the sportspod_Ben, and the TikTok, the new TikTok, I just made it at the.sports.pod. Go follow it right now. Really appreciate it. And send it to a friend. Why not? All right, I'll get into everything on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
That ball is out of here! Out of here!
All right, getting into the episode. The first episode in the new setup. Very excited to use it. We got the main camera and we got the second angle. What's going on? Yeah, I'm super happy with how it came out. Shout out Mr. Martin, director at MLB Network, for helping me set this up. This is awesome. But let's get into it. Started off with the Mets because I'm recording this after the Mets game today. After Jesse Winker's absolute pimp. Was it a pimp? Not really. But an absolute shot of a homer to win this game in the bottom of the ninth. Let's start with Sean Manaea and the pitching. This dude, Sean Manaea, has been unstoppable on an absolute another level this last month or so. Since the St. Louis start, since the Angels start, he was good. He has been on point and going 7 innings versus the Twins. He was really good. He's done so much for this team, and we wouldn't be in a spot where we're making a playoff push without him 100%. He has my vote for Game 1 starter over Sevy, who we'll get to in a couple minutes. But then the other thing, the bullpen, the transformation of this Mets bullpen has been incredible. In the first couple months of the season, this was a bottom bullpen in baseball. Now you're looking at them with Buto and Diaz, and Wasker Brazaban hasn't been good, but I know he can be. I trust in him. And also Daniel Nunez and Sean Reed-Foley are on their way back. It's going to get stronger, and it's already been really good right now. This Mets team has a real chance to make an absolute push for the playoffs. Am I saying they're definitely going to get in? No. But am I saying there's a definite chance? Absolutely. The one gripe I have with the bullpen is Mendy using Jose Buto in some games that we don't need to use him in. Like there will be times where he puts Buto in a lopsided game where the Mets are winning or where we're losing, and he makes him throw like 3 innings, which doesn't make any sense. Just save him. You have other guys that are capable in this bullpen. It's not just Jose Buto that can go more innings. I mean, Adam Ottavino hasn't done. Wait, did Ottavino got DFA'd? I think he did. Yeah, Ottavino got DFA'd. I don't know what I'm thinking about right now. But this bullpen from the start of the year, the comparison where Adam Ottavino was pitching in a lot of high leverage spots, Edwin Diaz was blowing a ton of saves, and all the other guys just weren't performing. Even Adrian Hauser, when he moved to the bullpen, wasn't good. He's DFA'd now. He's gone. That's one thing David Stearns, I've been really impressed with him. He knows how to take out the trash. He knows how to DFA the guys that don't deserve to be playing in the orange and blue, in the Met uniform. He's been a tremendous executive in his first year, and I'm excited to see what he continues to do over these next years because he has time. This is an evaluation year, and the team's making a push for the playoffs. He didn't spend a lot of money. This offseason, he's going to have that luxury of being able to spend a ton of Steve Cohen's money and really trying to focus and bring in the top prospects. whether it's a Juan Soto or it's a Blake Snell. David Stearns now has that ability. He has the freedom to do that. Where in Milwaukee, it was a small market, and he had to be a lot more careful with how he spent. All right, we talked about this game today that I just watched. I wanted to give my live reaction to that because I'm recording like 20 minutes after it happened. And then so let's go to Friday now. Let's jump to Friday when Francisco Alvarez walked the game off. Again, another good start by David Peterson. I mentioned it on social media. Make sure you go follow me. That he's been sort of an unsung hero and he doesn't get the love he deserves because he really doesn't. He's been really solid. He keeps the Mets in almost every game he pitches. There's not really a game where he gets like rocked or the Mets are completely out of it after 3 innings of him pitching. That just doesn't happen. It really doesn't. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. I'm a huge Peterson fan. I like his lefty delivery. It kind of reminds me of a lefty DeGrom. Not saying he should be compared to DeGrom, but his windup and his delivery do remind me of Jake's. So I've been impressed with him, and honestly, it's what I've expected from him. I've come to realize that he's gonna be a back end of the rotation pitcher that gives you solid starts. And this series again, and that's what he did on Friday, and that's what he's been doing all season. It's got to continue. He's not even close to being done doing that. He's probably going to move to the playoffs for the bullpen for the playoffs, which is scary to think about. He throws upper 90s already. He might be able to get to up to like 101, 102 out of the pen with a nice slider, which would be scary. I like David Peterson out of the pen. Christian Scott is on the return. I think he started throwing last week, and him out of the bullpen would be scary. He's a righty that throws a couple good, really nice breaking balls, and he has a live fastball. So just thinking about that is it's fun to think about, but the Mets have to make it into the playoffs before any of that strategizing can be done. And I trust Mendoza, even though he is a rookie manager, to get it right because he has all year. He hasn't done it. He hasn't been absolutely perfect, but he's been very good. He's been a really good manager, and he should be in consideration for manager of the year. Do I think he should win? No, but he should definitely be up there top 5 because he's done a lot for this team. All right, this series against the Orioles, this series win to wrap up the homestand is great and all. But you do realize that the Mets have to go out to the West Coast and play 2 of the 3 teams ahead of them right now. The first and second teams in the wild card race, the Padres and the Diamondbacks. That is what I'm worried about because the Diamondbacks and Padres don't know how to lose. The Mets gained a little ground for now until they play later tonight. But if the Mets don't win both these series, they're probably going to be out of the race because it's head-to-head games. So say the Mets lose 3 or 4, or let's even say, well, if they split, they'd be even. So let's say the Mets lose the series against the Padres. That's their next series. So they lose 3 games, and the Padres gain 3 to go, which would be they're up 2 on them right now, so it would be going up 5 on them. That's a lot to overcome in late August. And then if the Snakes win the series, they're up 3 right now. I don't know what's going to happen over this weekend, but if they say it stays the same, everything holds, and the Mets lose 2 or 3, they'll be 3 games back. Now the Braves are interesting. The Mets are 2 games back of them right now, but they do have a series late in September that is very interesting. It's the second to last series of the year. It's a 3-game series. A Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And if the Mets are still in playoff contention till then, that is going to be the series to watch. That's going to make or break the year. And it's going to be it's going to come full circle after what happened in 2021 if the 2022, sorry, if the Mets can come from behind and catch the Braves on that final weekend of the season. Staying on the topic of the Mets and what they've been able to do this homestand, though, last Saturday, the Luis Severino pitched an absolute gem against the Marlins. A complete game shutout. You do not see that often anymore. Mendy came out in the ninth. Sevy convinced him to stay in, and then he finished it. He finished the job. Sevy's been so solid. He really has. He's going to be our game 2 starter. I don't know how much I trust it, but I'm okay with it because I know what he can do. Just look at the couple years ago with the Yankees when he was good before he started getting injured, and then last year, obviously, that was a wash. He was tipping his pitches. There was so much that happened. That I just don't count that year. And this year, he's back to what he was doing in, 2017, 2018. He has the ability to be really good, and he has shown it this year. He is an incredibly solid pitcher. He's high upside. He has the ability to be an ace and the talent to be an ace, if you know what I mean. But he hasn't really shown it fully in a couple years. He's gotten back a lot closer to it this year, don't get me wrong, but he's still not an ace. I have a goal. Let me explain. So this past weekend, I was at Fanatics Fest. And you know what I saw a lot of there? A lot of press passes. And it got me thinking, I wonder what it would take to get one of those. So I did some research, and it's going to take a lot of help on social media and right here on YouTube. What I need, how I need the help is from you to follow, to like, to comment, to subscribe, to share these videos to your friends. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all of you who've done it. I'm going to continue to make content and produce to the best of my ability, but I need your help as well. And with that said, though, he's still a really good number 2 option to have on your team. I am not complaining about him starting game 2 one bit. I think that's pretty much what it's going to be. That's the way it should be. And before we get ahead of ourselves and start talking about who's starting game 1 and game 2, the Mets have to make it there, and it starts this weekend, like I was saying. This weekend and next week are going to determine the season. If the Mets can't win, 7 games. If the Mets can't win 4 out of 7 of these next games, season's done. Wrap it up. That's my take on it. But it also depends what the Braves do. So the Braves next 7 games, they play tonight against the Phillies and tomorrow against the Phillies. And they got 3 against the Nats and 3 against the Twins. So those are very winnable games for the Braves, who are getting Michael Harris back. He's back right now, and that's been big for them. Starling Marte is back for the Mets. I didn't even mention that yet. He didn't really do much this series, but it's always good to have an extra outfielder. And now instead of Tyrone Taylor and Ben Gamel, it'll be Starling Marte. And Tyrone Taylor will give him a day off. I just want to go back to Saturday real quick because that was not Saturday. What was it? Tuesday. I feel like this was a weekend series for some reason. I don't know why. It felt like a weekend series. But Brandon Nimmo, just that one play in left field, I don't know what happened to him. He's a very good left fielder, and he makes that play a lot of the time. I'll pop it up on the screen, but I don't know what happened with that, and it won't happen again. I don't think. That's not Brandon Nimmo. He's so solid in left field. He was very solid in center field. He just didn't have the arm for it. He made a nice play by the sidewall today in the 8th inning. And let me get to the umpiring of that game. Oh my goodness, that was disgusting. First off, that call that hosed the Mets out of a strikeout. It was a 3-2 pitch. It would have been a strike him out, throw him out for Terrence. But whoever was behind home plate, I don't know his name. That was a horrible call. That was right down Broadway. A beautiful changeup on 3-2 by Jose Butto. and a very nice throw, catch, and tag by Luis Torrens and Francisco Lindor. That is a terrible call. That costs the Mets a run. I don't think Jesse Winker has to hit that walk-off homer if Torrens or if the home plate umpire makes the right call there. With that said, he also made a terrible call that hosed. I don't know if it hosed the Orioles on a strikeout, but it definitely impacted an at bat. The ball was definitely outside the strike zone, and it was a called strike. And I think it was Austin Slater got thrown out of the game arguing it after he struck out on the next pitch. Whatever, though, it balanced out. The Mets won, and the Mets fans are happy. That's all that matters. All right, let's transition into a little bit of the Yankees here because I have some stuff to talk about here. So the other day, Aaron Boone did his weekly spot with John Boy, and they were talking about Anthony Volpe, right? Volpe had a very good start to the year. He's played almost or maybe every single game. He doesn't take days off. So John Boy asked Aaron Boone if he thought about giving Volpe a day off here, and I'll just play the question and answer right here because Aaron Boone got testy with him.
We talked about maybe giving Volpe a spell, a rest. You said you were considering it, but then Jazz got hurt.
Consider it when he, took the ball off the foot, but he's through that now. The last, 10 days or so, he's kind of been in that little bit of offensive funk that I feel like he'll get there.
What's there on Volpe? Because he's great defensively, so that allows you don't need him to be a juggernaut offensively.
Great
but he's been
the most important spot. Come on, man. This guy's a player. You're like, yeah, the defense is great. We acknowledge that. Like, that's enormous. He's the best shortstop in the league.
Defensively,
He's hitting like a league average or below league average hitter.
Well below, yeah.
Add it all up, he's a winning player. Like, stop it.
I mean, I can say stop it back if I want. I disagree.
What
So
if he goes out and has 2 good offensive weeks and he's a 720 OPS and the best defender in the league? You got yourself a pretty damn good player right there. He's going to get there. It's not linear. It's not just shoot to the moon.
yes, but last year you ran him the whole year. We were told he got run to the ground and he was tired. Here he is, last 200 plate appearance, 241 on base, 582 OPS. Like,
there's definitely a case in there where I could have given him a day here and there, absolutely. But to just have him not in the lineup. Next question. Seriously, when you run the team, you can make that call.
Yeah, you hear there. Aaron Boone said he could have given Volpe a day off, but he decided not to. And I like Volpe, and I like Aaron Boone defending Volpe, but not in that way. He's been struggling. I don't think you can really argue not giving him a day off recently because he absolutely needs one. He just needs a mental health day. Everyone needs it. He just needs one day off, get his mind right, and he'll be back after that. And that's what I think he should do, especially since the Yankees just called up Oswaldo Peraza, who is a shortstop. That was always the question mark while they were in the minors. Who's going to play short and who's going to play second? You have a chance to give Peraza a chance at third base right here. Give him a day at shortstop. Give him a game. Give Volpe the night off. Just let him rest. And then you could slide him back in the next day. It's not that big of a deal. But nope, Aaron Boone still has to run Volpe out there, even though he's struggling. And I want Volpe to succeed. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I'm a huge Volpe fan. And I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Aaron Boone to give him a day off. And I'm rooting for him to help the Yankees. I don't want the Yankees to win, but I'm rooting for Volpe to have a good have success. And this was like the one weekend, or not weekend. I don't know why I keep saying weekend. The one series that the Mets and Yankees were rooting together, because this series impacts the Yankees a lot. The Orioles are right there with them fighting for first place in the AL East. So the Mets needed the series for their playoff push, but the Yankees also needed the Mets win so they could gain some ground on the Orioles. Just talking about that Yankee game last night for a second. a 12-inning thriller with the Guardians, who's another team fighting for first place in the AL. Like, the Yankees absolutely should win the AL this year, in my opinion. It's so mediocre. They're first to 50 wins, and then they just fell off a cliff. Without a doubt, I think the Yankees should win the AL. I don't think there's a question about it. But it hasn't gone that way so far, and they're right there. They definitely can do it, but it's just I don't trust Aaron Boone enough, and I don't think he will lead them to an AL East, or not only an AL East, but an American League championship, because his bullpen usage, his lineup moves, he's made so many questionable moves. Playing Jose Trevino over Austin Wells so much. I know Trevi works his walks. He's a tremendous defender. But Austin Wells has been tearing the cover off the baseball. I mean, I don't know if there's any way to put it. When Trevi was hurt, Wells was smashing the ball. It was a lot of fun to watch. He looked like the catcher of the future. He looked like the catcher you guys were promised. Why are you platooning him? Trevi's a good mentor for him to have. He's a good veteran that can sit on the bench. Austin Wells is the future. The future is now. You got to play Wells. He's so much better. And then he got that pinch hit chance in the 12th inning, I think, last night, and he smashed the ball off the wall. And Trent Grisham had to score on that. I don't know why he was hesitating so much, but he absolutely had to score on that one. That was inexcusable. And then the bullpen, Clay Holmes, he has been 10 blown saves. That's not good enough. He's got to be better. Or the Yankees aren't going anywhere. Luis Gil's injured now. It's not looking too good for the Yankees, honestly. And I mean, they can definitely do it. They're just going to need to play up. Everyone's going to need to play up. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are going to have to continue what they're doing. But everybody else on the team is going to have to step up. I think Jazz Chisholm is coming back soon. On Friday, I think his IL, they can activate him again off the 10-day IL. They just put Luis Gil on the 15-day. And I don't know, man. I don't know about the Yankees. I don't trust them in October. They're going to get there. They're going to walk in there. But I don't really trust them going forward in October. All right, let's get to my top 10 New York athletes list. We're going to go 10-1, and I'll give you my take on it. This is in the current season or going into the next season. At 10, I'm putting Big Julius Randle. Julius has been a force in the front court for 4 years. Once he got to New York, the turnaround started. He was here with Tibbs. He came over a year after Tibbs, I think. But he took a sacrifice. He came to New York, and he started it. That first year the Knicks went to the playoffs, that was all Randall. He had no help on that team. Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks, nah. That was young Quickly and young RJ Barrett too. That was all Julius Randle, and it showed in the playoffs when we got gentlemen swept first round because the Hawks were just able to put 3 guys on Randle and nothing can happen, and nothing bad would happen. Number 8, Sexy Dexter Lawrence. Just an absolute force on that Giants defensive line that I think is going to be really good this year. They just added Brian Burns. Kayvon Thibodeau has showed promise his first 2 years as a Giant, but he hasn't been anything too special. But I think he can be. And adding Brian Burns to that defensive front is going to help a lot. But at number 9, Dexter Lawrence. Number 8, hopping across town and staying in the same stadium, Sauce Gardner. Absolute lockup corner. And the Jets really drafted well in that draft. Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, awesome picks. I think this is the year for Sauce, though, that he's got to start guarding more number one wide receivers. And I know that's on the Jets coaching staff, but he's got to be guarding every team's number one. I think he's that good. And if he does that, I think he'll jump up this list a couple spots. At number 7, Artemi Panarin from the Blue Shirts. He this regular season, he had an awesome regular season. I think he led the team in points. And then when he got to that Florida Panthers series, he went away. But that was because the Panthers were putting so much on him, so much attention, and it opened up a lot for what was his name? Fox and Lafreniere and all the other guys to really do whatever they want. So I know the Rangers lost, obviously, but Panarin did so much last year, and I think he's gonna be better this year. Number 6. This is gonna be a controversial one. Aaron Rodgers. All right, hear me out. I know he hasn't done anything yet, right? But this is going into next season or staying in the season that the team's already in. Rodgers, I know he's old and I know he's coming off an Achilles tear. But last year, he got the chance to watch so much football. And he said it himself. Like, he learned a lot last year. And he's going to be able to use that to his advantage. He's going to be able to talk to Nathaniel Hackett and their defensive coordinator and say, I want to do this. Or he's going to be able to read defenses easier. And that's going to help him. So as long as the Jets' offensive line can keep him upright and he doesn't have to move around in the pocket too much, he is going to have an awesome year. He has all the weapons on offense, and and I know he can put it together because we've seen it for the past decade with his accuracy and just throwing the ball. Number 5, Francisco Lindor. Number 5 athlete in New York. I don't really think this is arguable. I think it's pretty set in stone. He came here a couple of years ago, didn't have the greatest year. The team didn't have the greatest year. But he's put up his stats, and he's performed. I know a lot of the time it's been empty stats after the Mets have been eliminated, but this year it's not. And in 2022, it's not. Lindor's the only shortstop in the league that has 25 stolen bases, 25 homers right now, I think. And his defense, it's dazzling. He's got such good defense. And he could do it from both sides of the box. He's definitely the 5th best athlete in New York. I think that's a great spot for him. Number 4, Igor Shesterkin. I think this is pretty obvious. I think these next 3 are going to be pretty obvious also. Igor basically willed the Rangers to the conference finals last year. He had like no offensive help. He was playing so well in the playoffs. And he's just going to continue to get better. I don't see him losing a step or anything like that. I just see him continuing to do what he does. All right. Let's see. Number 3, Juan Soto. A Juan Soto photo. Juan has done what he does, has done what he's done his whole career. He's brought it to New York this year. I think he might bring it to the other side of New York next year. Nah, I'm just playing. I think he stays with the Yankees still. But the walks, the power, he's played well in the short porch, and he knows how to play baseball. He's such a smart hitter. He knows the strike zone better than the umps do. It's pretty incredible to watch. He's so fun to watch. His defense isn't horrible. Like, you can get away with that defense. And he's the 3rd best athlete in New York. Number 2, his Yankees teammate, Aaron Judge. Judge is no doubt 2nd best player. Most homers in baseball this year, highest OPS. He's an animal. He's a maniac. He's unbelievable. He is such a good hitter. He's the best hitter I've ever watched in my life. And I know I haven't watched that many hitters, but it's not even close. And Judge is the best. And his defense is good. He's a good leader. And he represents the Yankees organization well. and your top New York athlete going into the 2024-25 NBA season, Jalen Brunson. I mean, how was I going to leave him? How was I not going to put him at number one? The king of New York, the 36th captain in New York history, and an amazing leader, a super smart basketball player, knows what he has to do. One of the most talented scorers in the NBA. I say he's up there, second or third best. And then probably the fourth best player in the NBA right now. He's definitely the best athlete in New York. I don't think there's any doubts. Let me know in the comments below what you would have changed on this list. And shout out to Fireside Yankees for putting out their list, because that's what prompted me to do mine. Because they put Jalen at third, which I thought was, quite frankly, ridiculous. I didn't think it was. I don't know. They had Brunson at 3, Judge 1, Soto 2. Yeah, that wasn't gonna fly with me. All right, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Share this with a friend and tell a friend to follow. I'll talk to you in the next one, and keep it locked with the Sports Pod.